Hey, my name is Mark Tsigounis, and welcome to an episode of Finding Rad. Today we're having a conversation with Karl Allen-Muncey. So what do you do when you have a drastic life change and everything gets just flipped over on its head? I don't mean like a small setback, but I mean like full on, just like life change. So we're gonna dive into it with Karl today, but I'm so excited to share this conversation with you because today we got into the real story of what comes next. We cover how his motorcycle became this unexpected tool for mental health and how he's helping reshape that for the community. What he discovered when he unplugged from the digital world to live a more analog life, and a powerful lesson he learned about finding your community when you least expect it. This isn't one of those perfect polished episodes. We kind of jumping all over the map there, but I think that you're really going to enjoy this conversation and you're going to get a ton out of it. So thanks for joining me today, and let's dive in. Here's my chat with Karl. Cheers.
Yeah, so this is the first time that we're doing this within Hibear, and I was having a conversation with a friend, and we have really cool people like yourself that left the 9 to 5 for just a more non-traditional life to go out and explore and own your own time and occupy your time with the things that matter to you, whether that's adventure and family and, all those different things, and just being the architect of your own life. And I thought it was really interesting for you and your bio, Karl, where, you spent 20 years kind of in the marketing and tech world. And then something happened, right? You had maybe this epiphany moment. I mean, is that right? Am I kind of harping on the right things here?
No, I'd like to say that it was that romantic, mate. Yeah. I really would, but it really wasn't. My life essentially exploded, right? After COVID or during COVID, I was going through a breakup. I was finding it hard to get work. I was coming back to Ontario. I was working out east. And the honest answer is I just couldn't find any stable work. But what that did do was leave me with a massive opportunity to look at my life and say, okay, what is important? How do I want to put it back together? And what path does that look like? So for the past, I want to say, what is it now? Maybe it must be coming up 5 or 6 years. I've really been working more to live more of an authentic life. And a lot of that, honestly, Mark, has been a lot of personal growth and finding myself and, just exploring and adventure. Life is, genuinely far more interesting having to put it back together than it was, I shouldn't really say, but having experienced a modicum of success. I think I got lazy, spiritually lazy almost.
Yeah.
I was just in my life, kind of just in the hustle and bustle of it. So yeah, I'm enjoying the journey, mate. And honestly, it's led me to be kind of far more authentic with myself and look at life in a far different way. And I think I'm far more present for myself and for my kids, more importantly, and showing them really kind of what it means to live a more kind of authentic life and how that has ripple effects in everything that you do.
For the people out there that might be in your shoes or where you were at maybe back in 2020, of where you were having this epiphany moment, what were the signals and what are some of the things that you did where you were man, this is not working out? And did you have a plan, or did you just kind of blow it all up? And what's kind of your advice to everybody that might be in your shoes or where you were at?
Well, the bottom line, when you're spiraling, I will say, when you don't have any control of your life, I think that's the real opportunity to kind of look at your life and say, how do I want to live it? Because in business that we're taught that there's opportunity and disruption, right? But we're not taught to do that with our lives. We're essentially taught to fix it. And I think there's some really interesting ways that we can kind of say to ourselves, look, there's an opportunity for us to do things slightly differently here, and look for those opportunities in a slightly different way as well. Are you familiar with that whole red car theory?
No. You mean you buy the red car and then all you see is the red car?
Yeah, well, similar to that. It's if I asked you today, how many red cars did you see on the way to work? You couldn't say. But if I said to you, for every red car you see, I'll give you $50, then you start keeping an eye out for the red cars. And opportunity in life is like that as well. I think if you look for the opportunities, you will see them. And if you look for the negativity in your life, you will see it. So I think the hard part is there's going to be times in your life where, you know, you're going to be surrounded by the negative stuff, right? You're going to be almost waterboarded by the bad stuff that's going on in your life. So I think the hard part, but the kind of advice is look for the good things and you will see them. And the more things that you see, the more opportunities that you will create, and you just start living that kind of more positive lifestyle, because you can stew. And I think a lot of us are born to stew, you know, like, oh, it's all going wrong or whatever. And in all likelihood, it probably is, but you got to look for the good things. Otherwise you won't see them.
Yeah. So what are some of those tools that you use to manifest more positivity and to not like block out the bad, but to, you know, accept the bad, but really focus in on like those positive attributes that are happening within life. And so you can more or less manifest more of that, right? Like you want to replicate more like positivity in your life so you can further your general mission and your direction and where you want to head. So what are some of the things that you do?
Well, for myself, it really comes down to trying to find some kind of goals. Like when you, in my case, which is, you know, similar for some, different for others, like I'd lost a lot of the stability. And, you know, the irony is, and there's a couple of kind of ironic factors to my situation. I'd had a lot of infrastructure, like I had a lot of things, you know, all the things that you kind of think that you want, are taught to want. But once that stuff's gone, you lose a lot of your identity with that. So I found that I did a lot of kind of internal reflection, and that led me to put far more stock in the only things that I had left really, which were myself, a few, and in those possessions was a motorcycle. So really it became, for me, a kind of quest or an adventure for personal growth. And the motorcycle for me came, like, pun intended, like a vehicle for that. Like I started spending a lot more time with this bike. That led me to do things that I'd, you know, tried to use to reconnect with myself, like camping, reading. And I started feeling so much better, Mark, like so much better. And I had less things. I had less trappings, but I had far more of an authentic view of myself. I was like, damn, this is the stuff I enjoy. I love being outside. I love camping. Why have I never enjoyed this motorcycle? For the freedom that it gives me. I've always looked at it as a commuter vehicle. Like, this thing's spiritually beautiful. And the more I kind of invested in myself and invested myself into that journey, the less I was drinking, the less TV I was watching, the more time I was spending outside, the more I was appreciating moments with the people that mattered. And it really just became this kind of flywheel effect of goodness, because, you know, things were on the outside crashing down. My finances were a mess. My relationship was a mess. All these things that were broken, but I didn't be one of those broken things anymore. And it allowed me to kind of, with all of those broken pieces on the floor, look at them and decide which pieces I wanted to pick up and take forward on my journey. So really just a little bit of selfishness is kind of what you need at that point, self-defense to a certain degree. But there's also a lot of humility. There's a lot of things that you can learn about the situation if you choose to look at it as lessons and not as, you know, looking for pity.
Very special thanks to Hibear for sponsoring this video. It's so super weird that they decided to do this, especially on our first episode. I mean, I'm not like the founder or anything like that. I didn't like design and manufacture this bottle myself. No, I'm kind of kidding. Anyway, thank you so much, Hibear, for sponsoring this video. This is the All Day Adventure Flask. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, it is the Swiss Army tool of insulated bottles. This one is the Moontide bottle done by artist Skywalker. Oh man, this thing is gorgeous. Bookmarks, so you can enjoy the artwork in your favorite book. Anyway, yeah, so it says flask the lid, double wall stainless steel insulation. Lid unscrews so you can, and inverts like this, so it screws to the center of your Hibear connector there. To do pour over coffee, just add a V60 coffee filter, coffee grounds, a little hot water to do pour over coffee. If you're into decanting wine, there's a screen in the middle, aerate your wine, catching the sediment you want at the bottom of your glass. Filter basket, this is for your tea infusions and cold brew coffee. Just fill that halfway with coffee grounds. This is your thermal core. The thermal core is for like beer and white wine. So just pop that in the freezer for an hour to keep colds cold without diluting the ice. Grab that bottle of rosé out of the freezer. Fill the top right here. Head to your local beach, campground, wherever you're going. Of course, you don't want to bring that glass to the beach, so this is kind of perfect. Of course, you want to kind of share with what you got with either a friend or a dog, because dogs like beer too. And then that's when you get a beautiful artwork that's underneath here. Fantastic product, and special shout out to Hibear for making this all possible. Now back to the video. Cheers.
Yeah. I want to get into where your motorcycle has taken you and like some of those adventures that kind of helped that aha moment. But you mentioned like a lot of really fantastic things in there. And I think I noticed like a general thematic around more of like an analog life where you're like, picking up a book and reading and motorcycles. We're in this day and age of like the attention economy and like, people are just constantly plugged in where the first thing that you reach for is your phone in the morning and your phone in the evening. And that, the phantom vibrations in your pocket, it's always calling to you, pulling you away from, really what we are all like crave to do, which is just being in that flow state and creating or, adventuring and appreciating and being in the moment. And so, how did you kind of unplug from all of that? And I know you spelled a little bit about what it means to you, but maybe you can kind of go further down that rabbit hole with us.
Yeah. No, of course. It's so funny that you say unplug from it, right? I spent a 20-year career, a little bit more now, like in technology, like in hardcore technology, starting out in pure IT, getting into new media and the dot-com boom of the early 2000s and doing well in it. But then I was on the train, I was on the train of kind of business work and all of those things. And I was genuinely in the business of technology in all aspects of it. So when it comes to unplugging from it, I literally did that. Like instead of having an Apple Watch, I moved to an analog watch, instead of playing computer games all the time or whatever it is. And I was never a big gamer. I just started spending more time like physically making stuff, like fixing broken old electronics from the 1980s. Like I just started living a little bit more of a kind of hands-on kind of life, really.
That's crazy. I mean, like honestly, like I don't wear a wristwatch. Yeah. I mean, I wore, I think maybe a couple of years ago, I got a fitness watch just for the sheer of like, hey, I want to run with my phone. And what I found is that I had to turn off all the notifications on the watch and just get it to its core. And I was just still like kind of annoyed with it. And so I no longer wear like even a fitness watch for that purpose. But I do run with a phone because, Strava is still something that I really love to benchmark myself on. And, after we get off this call today, I'll head out on a run, and it's just nice to see that sort of progress. And I think technology does have its time, and it is a slippery slope of like how much you can kind of dive into, data, the metrics, and or everything else, like depending on like what matters to you. But coming back to like what matters to you, when you got to that point and, you got down to your core items of all the things that you just unburied from your life and you kind of rediscovered your motorcycle, where did you go? Where did it take you?
Well, I mean, the honest answer is it took me to so many really cool places. So I was working out on the East Coast, and that's about a 24-hour drive from where I am now. And I would have to go back and forth. My kids were still here in Ontario. I had this kind of role, this thing I was building on the East Coast, and I had to get out there every couple of weeks, base myself there. So I'd get on the bike and I would ride. And it was an incredibly kind of arduous ride a lot of the time, but it was arduous not necessarily for the distance, but more so you're by yourself. Like you were literally with your thoughts for a 24-hour straight, and there is something quite when you're going through a difficult time, there's the brain can be a painful place, but it was also very therapeutic, right? So I got to spend a whole bunch of time like riding around the East Coast in the fall of the year, which is absolutely beautiful. Like there's so many great parts of the East Coast to kind of ride around. Here where I am in Ontario, there are so many beautiful places to ride. There's a whole bunch of crown land camping, which I explored and I found, and I had some amazing experiences just being able to kind of ride my bike into the middle of nowhere, pull the tent off of the back, and then And it's just myself, like in just this vastness of Ontario, and just experience the wilderness, which is, I grew up in central London, right? Like I'm not used to that stuff. Right. And it was really like out of my comfort zone type stuff. I'd always gone camping with friends, take a few beers out with the lads and you're drinking and whatever. And then, everyone barrels into tents and whatever. You're never really alone. So it was my kind of first foray into like true solo camping in the middle of nowhere. And dude, bears are an issue. Like,
I know. You're like, there's bears here? You're like, well.
I always thought it was just one of those things. But yeah, genuinely have to start looking out for yourself.
Hey, okay. Yeah, I switched to hotspot. So, or actually, no, now I'm back on the Wi-Fi here, but we'll see how it works. Sorry that it's interrupting our momentum here, but we're talking about like Crown's Land, and, I've never heard of that before. So is that like Bureau of Land Management for Canada, where it's like, you can kind of do with, what is Crown Land?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on the subject, but I think there are basically some land reserved in the name of what is now the king, I guess, that can't be built on as public use land. And I don't want to say it's a free for all. You get some really interesting folks using it. But my God, man, like Canada is vast. And there's some massive sections where you cannot see people for days. Like you can go portaging, and if you see another boat out there or a kayak, it's a surprise. You're like, what are you doing out here? And the same thing on some of this Crown Land, right? So there's some really cool places that you can find. There's these resources that you can see using the web now and whatnot. That's where technology is good, like technology for good. Technology can be a really good enabler of a lot of finding some of those like lesser explored spots. There's beauty in that, right? There's opportunity in that. Like technology to find and connect you with your community of people. There's beauty in that. So I think there's a lot of, we're living in the time of AI and a lot of abuse of technology and using technology for bad. And trust me, like I say, when I say I worked in technology for 20 years, I was building algorithms for targeting people and looking authentic in ways that, push more ads, and the corporate company can get higher conversion rates. But there's tons of technology for bad, but once again, it's that red car thing. Like, look for the good. I mean, the sad thing is there's so much abuse of it out there at this point. Like, it's become an ungoverned environment for that front. But there's still great uses for it, and finding Crown Land and opportunities to connect with yourself and other people using the internet has been great.
Yeah, I think we have something out here at the Bureau of Land Management, and that's helped make festivals like Burning Man possible. Do you guys have anything like Burning Man in like Northern Canada, where there's just like a barter society established for like 2 weeks at a time? Or
no, but that sounds pretty beautiful. If it's genuinely as authentic as it sounds, that sounds amazing. There are some amazing opportunities to connect with your people up here in Canada. Cool. Like, there is one of the big questions I get asked all the time, especially as a motorcyclist, is what do you guys, what the hell do you do during winter? Like, and the honest answer is you connect with people, and there's an opportunity to connect with yourself. If you choose to use it, once again, there's that opportunity. But yeah, there are tons of great events. I went to an amazing event earlier this season called Craft, which was a kind of real celebration of real kind of motorcycle culture. And I mean that in all of its senses, like arts, culture, builders. Yeah, some really kind of nice aspects to it. And there was camping there. There was, like all of these talented people showing off their kind of projects. And I did a talk there on mental health and the mental health benefits of riding motorcycles. And it was a real kind of mix, but it was a great mix of people. There's tons of events up here. It's one of the big things that Canada does really well.
So now, you've done all these adventures. You've done a lot of different things. What's like, I know, hey, I love it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I actually am using my Hibear right now.
So what's in the future for you? Like, what are you thinking? Like, what kind of conjuring of like plans or ideas or like dreams do you have? Like, where do you want to take this?
Mate, I've got so much. I'm naturally an entrepreneur, right? Like that 20 years in technology has primarily been me working for myself. I've worked for myself since I was 19. I just happened to find it financially beneficial to work in tech. But really, like being on that path, like it wasn't truly authentically me. And I think in some variations of me it was. I think I kind of outgrew it. So this whole path now of, I don't want to say personal growth because that really makes it sound quite lame. Like just being more me, actually working out who I am and what's important to me has led me to want to do more of it. And I don't want to be as cliche as to say, do what you love and the money will come, because to a lot of senses, that's right. Like, I mean, there's truth in it when you look at it and say, well, if I'm in this environment for long enough, opportunities will amass within that kind of circle. You know, the people that you hang around with are going to be the people in that space and whatnot. So the honest answer is there are some great opportunities that have flourished in me essentially being stuck doing what I'm passionate about, because it's led me to do some amazing stuff. Dude, originally I learned how to ride a motorcycle so I could get away from people. I would go to tech conferences, I'd be talking about innovation labs, the latest way of using whatever. So I'd get on my motorcycle, I'd be like, okay, this is for me, I'm going to get away from people. The irony, when we talk about irony, the motorcycle led me to find my people. It led me to meet some of the most authentically beautiful people I'd ever met. And part of that it comes out of the fact that you're connecting with people over a passion. You're not necessarily getting together and saying, what motorcycle do you ride? You know, what motorcycle do I ride? We have that in common. Like we have the motorcycle piece done. So you just start talking to people saying, well, you know, and inside you're saying to yourself, well, I know this person here feels the same benefits that I get from riding my motorcycle. I know that they have that intrinsic thing. It's like running. When you're talking to another runner, you're not necessarily talking about what sneakers they're wearing. You're talking about life. You have that shared connection already. So with myself, the conversations were less about the motorcycle and more about the people and the journey that I was on and the journey that they were on. I would naturally get into why do I feel better about through riding a motorcycle. So I started looking at, I'm a data guy, right? I started looking at the research that supports like the mental health side of us having these passions. So I was like, holy, there's some incredible correlations over, how riding a motorcycle is actually really good for your brain. How riding a motorcycle can actually, stave off things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. It increases neuroplasticity. It increases dopamine. It reduces cortisol. Like I started learning about all of this stuff. So I started sharing it on social media and it grew. Like people were like, holy cow, this is validating our addiction. Like this is a good thing. And so what they did was, go on.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, continue, please. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
It opened up the conversation to people saying, no, I do feel better. Like I'm going through this exceptionally traumatic thing in my life, or, I've just lost my job or I'm having custody issues with my kid but riding a motorcycle and reading your thing makes me feel better. Or I'm having an argument with my husband because he doesn't want me to ride a motorcycle. Now I've just sent him this post that you did on how it's good for my mental health. And, it stops me being, unhappy at home. So that's allowed me to create more content. That content's created opportunities. I now ride officially with a couple of brands, and I've written a book called The Moto Journal that I'm trying to self-publish right now, which is, part motorcycle maintenance manual, part personal growth journal. So I'm getting that published right now. I've got this program I've written called Spark Unplugged, which is genuinely about trying to reconnect with yourself and reconnect with your creativity. That should be launching in October, November. And man, I've got so many great opportunities with things that are happening in 2026 with different brands I'm now able to work with through my platform. There's some really cool going on. And I'm genuinely great. I have so much gratitude for the opportunities that are being presented to me. And I have gratitude for the fact that they're coming out of some hard work as well. Like I'm doing the work and it's a side effect of that.
That's awesome. So if you're someone like me who's not a motorcycle rider, I mean, there's still a lot to learn from all this and it's extremely intriguing. But if somebody's sitting down, they're saying, man,
I think that I have it in me. I think this is something that I'm destined to do. Like, where would I even start to become a rider and to join the community? And yeah, where do I start?
Well, in terms of community, you'll always find your people. You've got to work out why you want to ride, if you want to ride. The easiest thing do you remember being a kid and getting on your BMX or your bicycle and then going down a hill and then kicking your feet out and just being like, wee, like just, you feel that, you're like, wow, I'm in control of this thing. I can tell you right now, there is nothing in the world like that experience as a kid, unless you get a motorcycle and you're going down a hill and you're like, wee, that's why there's a reason that people are grinning like idiots inside of those helmets, because you feel like a child again for the first time. There's so little in our life that feels like freedom. And riding a motorcycle is genuinely like one of those last bastions of freedom. It feels like you're getting something back. It almost feels like you're stealing it. So the honest answer is work out what your kind of motivation is. And the motivation might be, I just want to do something new, something different, and I want to do something for myself. So like book yourself on that weekend course. Do it for just the sake of doing the course. You might never want to ride again, but teach yourself something new. And I can tell you right now, the first time you take that thing out on the open road and you're not necessarily thinking about, okay, pull the clutch in, change, it starts becoming natural. Man, the first time you get that experience of just being at one with the elements, like you will never experience the elements the same way again. You know, you can feel the air, you can feel the changes in altitude and speed and smells that you would never experience in a car. And you're experiencing life firsthand. You're in it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I've always wanted to ride, but my mother was a OR nurse, and she kind of said this blanket statement: you will never get a dirt bike, you'll never get a motorcycle. So now I'm on the next worst thing, which is an e-bike. But it's the minivan. It's the minivan of e-bikes. It's the cargo e-bike, and I throw my 4 and 5-year-old on the back, and we just cruise around town. And I know, not the same, but
if it's yours, man, I'm good with it.
So Karl, where can people find you? They want to learn more about your book and all the content that you're putting out, or just like want to email you or ask you questions. Where can people find you?
I'm super easy to find, almost to my detriment. Instagram's the easiest place. I have a fairly decent platform there on Instagram. That's Zen Motorcycle Maintenance. And I came across that name. I was reading Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, one of these camping trips. Book. And I was like, I was thinking, well, if I'm going to set up an Instagram account, what shall I use? I looked over, I was reading that book. I was like, is it available? I used it. And here I am, something like 160,000 followers later. Like it's crazy. And so that's an easy place to find me. ZenMotorcycleMaintenance.com. I'm rebuilding my website right now. I was like, what do you use that for? Yeah, connect with me over Instagram, LinkedIn. I still do have a fairly decent, healthy presence on LinkedIn. But I'm easy to find, dude. Just Google me.
That's sick. Any final words for everybody that might be listening? And
Do you know what? I think right now we're distracted by a lot of things. I think a lot of that is intentional. I think there's so much going on in the world right now that is so unbelievably depressing, oppressive. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is unbelievably all-consuming and distracting. But I think we need to remember that we have to kind of connect with each other, and we have to connect with ourselves, and we have to look at our neighbors as being exactly that. Like we're all here in the same pot, in the same mess. Like we're all the same. Like whether we're taught to believe that we're all different or not, like there's an opportunity for us to connect through this, not to be torn apart and divided and against each other. We should be standing together really and saying, listen, what are we going to do about this? And stop taking that kind of prescribed being told what it is that we're going to do. And I think that starts with ourselves. Let's look inwards. Let's find a little bit more authenticity within ourselves, our values, and where we want to be as people, and connect with people over that.
I love it. Thanks, Karl. That was a great way to wrap things up. Thanks for spending so much time with us, and hopefully we get to do it again sometime.
Inevitably, I'm always interested in doing more with people, and good people, and like this isn't, I'm genuinely drinking out of your bottle, right? I think it's a great product. How did you start with this? Tell me a little bit about this. That's about me. I want some of you.
Yeah, the Swiss Army tool of insulated bottles, man. Yeah, it was a long time coming. So doing it for longer than I'm willing to admit. And we started kind of like with an insulated French press, and then we moved on to 7 interchangeable tops and 1 vessel. And that was a total nightmare for people like us that are looking to explore and adventure and travel and all the things. And so we thought, how can we pack all that functionality into to 1 bottle? And that's more or less how the Adventure Flask was born. But, like I did some traveling around the world and had a lot of time to kind of dissect things. And, eventually through kind of like persistence, and nothing happens, overnight. That's kind of how it came together in a nutshell. So, but yeah, thanks for asking.
No, man. Well, and just as a business owner, like I say, I've been self-employed for the majority of it. Like I've only actually had a few gigs. I had a design and marketing agency that I grew here in Canada that got acquired in 2013. And it was only really after that acquisition did I actually work for people. So I've got a ton of respect when it comes to business owners and entrepreneurs. I work with a ton of them. That's been one of the ways I've been making money, is by writing marketing strategies and working with startups, helping them get their funding and all of that stuff. Like the motorcycle thing hasn't been paying. Talking about do what your passion or whatever, and it will pay. It hasn't paid, dude. So I'm respect for it. So what else are you working on right now? Like, what are your plans with Hibear?
Yeah, so we have a new product that we've already been through ideation, design development, and design for manufacturing. And now we're in the sampling phase and just making kind of like fine-tune adjustments. And we hope to launch that product within the next couple of months. It's pretty exciting. I absolutely adore using it. I can't really say too much about it right now, but yeah, I would love to get one in your hands. We're going to be doing a small run of just 100 of these. And yeah, I'd love to get one of those 100 in your hands and get your feedback and let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, dude, totally. I'm always up. I'm up for doing anything with you. I think you've got a great product, and I love the kind of ethos of the company as well. Like the vibe of it is very in tune with kind of where I am. If you ever want to do, and I'd love to do I was even thinking of buying a bunch of the Hibear units and like co-branding them, if you ever wanted to do like a collaboration, I'd love to do that. And we'll stick some of the proceeds towards like a mental health charity or something like that. Like we could do some cool stuff. Because these are for moto camping, dude. Like I take this on the road all the time. Like I was at that motocraft event and I was there. I got out of my tent in the morning and a couple of the guys came over and I was, same thing. I was flipping this over. I was making myself some coffee and like, what the f is that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have the coolest stuff. And I genuinely do, because like when you're camping, you don't want to take 3 things with you. So I think the moto sphere of folks are genuinely interested in this stuff for sure.
I mean, I love any community that is enthusiastic over the things that we talked about today. Yeah. Just exploration, adventure, and mental health. And, quite frankly, nobody gives a, about, whatever it is, where you came from, the things like your, the color of your skin or whatever it is. So you're just like us,
everyone enjoys good coffee. Everyone enjoys a good drink, or whatever.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why we designed the Adventure Flask, is to try to pull people together, whether that's over a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, or, great margarita.
Dude, all of the above. Like I'm literally having a little bit of a cleanse right now. So I haven't drank since July. But as an Englishman, that's very odd.
That's good. It's good. Yeah. I haven't been on a cleanse since July, but yeah.
Yeah, so I actually was going to get, this is my branding, Zen Motorcycle Maintenance.
Oh, love that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we could do like a really good hot pink kind of, yeah, for sure. I was thinking under where you've got like the mountains or the topographical thing on this one. He says trying to get it off. But yeah, I think we could do some cool, good looking stuff together.
That's super cool. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk more about that.
It'd be fun. Yeah, we'll give some proceeds to some mental health charities or something. I don't know. A fund.
I'm on board. Yeah, we just donated a few bottles to Send It Foundation here in Truckee, California. that puts together kind of like epic adventures for kids and young adults that have cancer diagnosis. So they take them mountain biking and surfing, and it's a wonderful organization. So I'm always proud to rep that. And
good causes, man. Yeah, there's whereabouts are you in California?
I'm in Truckee, Northern California. So Lake Tahoe area is where I'm
wow,
at.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Right now, I'm in a place that's called Alder Creek, and there's just a big trail system here. There's like 60, 70 miles of trails out here, and there's a bunch of great loops and some good mountain biking out here. I just chose to suffer a little bit more on my legs and, beat up my joints instead of, coasting downhill on a mountain bike. So...
Dude, get it done. Well, look, man, I hope this is the start of more conversation. I'd love to get to know you better, dude.
Yeah, you too, Karl. This was awesome. Honestly, didn't really know where the conversation was going to go. And you're a truly interesting guy that's got a great mission, that's doing wonderful things. And, thanks for fighting the good fight for all of us and, charging that hill, that's super important.
Yeah. I have to think. It was Christine, right, that put us together?
Yeah, Christine.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
You definitely got me psyched up about motorcycles for sure. We have a really big motorcycle touring, and then of course there's a lot of OHV trails around here. So there's a lot of dirt bike communities that are not too far away from here. There's a few of them.
Hey, if you ever want to get into it, I know some really cool people in the space, especially in the California area. I'm really good friends with the guy. Do you know the brand Builtwell?
Oh yeah, Builtwell.
Yeah. So Davin, who's head of marketing, he's out in California. He's an amazingly cool dude. You should connect with him, period. Awesome. I met him I'm an official ambassador for Royal Enfield motorcycles. I do some cool stuff with them. In fact, I was in Joshua Tree riding one of their new bikes earlier in the year. That's amazing. I need to come out. I need to get to LA and do some stuff out there. There's some cool stuff some really cool. This whole social media thing, I've met some amazing people, executive producers for the Discovery Channel, and one of the guys I talked to who's really nice. He's the guy who plays C-3PO in all the Star Wars stuff.
Way! Are you serious? Oh my god, that's some random.
They're so
probably cool. I never get recognized, so I kind of have to tell people.
Yeah, that's one of those things, man. We were talking about wearing the mask, is literally wears the mask.
Well, if you get down to LA and you're with those guys, make sure you tell them not just to take you to Joshua Tree, but take the ride out to Mammoth and do the 395 corridor and have them take you to some hot springs out there in the Eastern Sierras. I mean, you can even ride through Yosemite there, but Eastern Sierras out by Mammoth Lakes and the June Lake ride out there it's God's country. It's gorgeous.
All over
it's
it. That'd be amazing.
Just really big mountain peaks. In the wintertime, it's obviously it's high desert, but there's typically not a lot of snow down there. It can be super windy in some areas by Lake Mono. Lake Mono is kind of this iconic lake right outside of Yosemite, where Tuolumne is. And Tuolumne Meadows is this campground in Yosemite that's at 10,000 feet or something like that. And then you can hike up to 14. It's pretty high. But yes, great motorcycle riding, 395, look it up next time you're in LA and maybe they'll take you out.
I totally will. No, I totally will, mate. And look, I'll flick you my personal details. If there's anything I can ever do to fly the flag, give you a head start, let's connect on LinkedIn. If you see anyone that I'm connected to, you want an intro to, mate, just get in touch. I'll happily do anything to help.
Man, thanks, Karl. I appreciate that. I might take you up on that,
Anytime, mate. We're all fighting the good fight.
Love it.
All right. You take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a good one, Karl. Have a good one. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks to Hibear for sponsoring this episode today. Makers of the Swiss Army tool of insulated bottles, craft all your favorite beverages from cold brew to cocktails. Yet simple enough you can use it as your everyday water bottle. Special thanks to Karl. Appreciate the conversation that we had today. Hopefully it's been valuable to all of you. Lots of cool stuff on the horizon. These few episodes that we're going to do up front are interviews with a lot of other nonconformist adventurers that are out there. But yeah, thanks so much for joining today. Cheers, and I'll catch you on the next one.